Well, I am excited. Joining us today in the studio is Steve Fadie, and Steve is the author of the book called Words to the Rescue. And Dan, you know, you and I talk about words all the time. We do shows that deal with language.
Yes.
And you know how passionate I am about words.
Yes. And we also talk about words that annoy us that people always get wrong, like library. That's the one. That's one I always hear.
Exactly.
And jury.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. And then we talk about manners in words. And Steve's book, Words to the Rescue, I think incorporates a little bit of all of that. The passion of the language, manners, the necessity to learn how to write good words, and the ability to express those. Good morning, Steve Fadie.
Good morning, Clarice.
Great to have you.
I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you so much. I was delighted to see you in studio this morning. Your book, I have to say, first of all, I've got to thank Kathy Hink, whom we've had on the show before, because when she was here, and we so enjoyed having her, she shared with me your book.
Yes.
And I took that book and I looked at the cover. That's the first thing I loved. And then after that, I went to the first page or so, and then I was hooked. And I'm one of these people, I'll just sit up, I'm at home, and people in my house, my daughter and my husband who are home now, they'll wonder, why am I laughing? Or what is it that, you know, is going on here? And it's such a great journey going through this book. Steve, tell us how you became so passionate about the power of words and this whole journey that your book takes people on.
Well, thank you, Clarice. I just wanted to say very quickly, my friend Kathy Hink, we met in Grand Rapids Toastmasters about 15 years ago. And she's just a terrific person, helped me put the book together over the years. I put the book together over about 15 years, and Kathy was there every step, reacting and giving me ideas.
I can believe that she's a good one.
Yeah, so she's a great lady. The passion of words. I really like to write. I have been an advertising writer for 25 years. So my specialty is writing things that are short and that get a response from people. So I took all of that ability and put it into this book. So I took commercial writing ability and put it into personal writing. Wishes from me to you. That's what the book is full of. Things that you would say to someone else on different occasions, birthdays, anniversaries, apologies, just about anything.
Exactly. And you know what, Steve, I like on the cover of the book that you have a pencil, and and the pencil is broken. And I like that because I'm a person who still writes. And what is happening anymore? We don't seem to do that anymore.
Well, you know, it's difficult. Even me as a writer, if I sit down to write a note, I have to think about it and I have to work on it. So I need to get inspired just like anyone else. That's one reason I wrote the book. I wanted to help inspire other people. Sometimes when you're stuck, you don't have any words, you just need to look at something. Just look at something else, and that will give you ideas and get you going. So that's why I wrote the book. Why aren't we writing as much today? I guess it's because of all of our electronics, and we're doing emails, but we're doing things shorter, which we're doing things shorter. That's even more important, to be able to pick the right words in just a few words, not go on and on and on with dozens and dozens of words. Just pick the few correct words. It's hard to do, so you need a little training, you need a little inspiration, and that's why I wrote the book.
Exactly.
Yeah, like with Twitter, you can only have like 120 characters. What's that about?
That's it. That's all you can say.
Then even words are simplified. Like you got that OMG and WTF and LOL and
and you have a little bit of that in your book, Steve, but it's kind of tongue in cheek. I mean, I didn't take it all that seriously when you introduced a little bit of the technology language into the mainstream language. I thought you did it more for effect and fun.
Yes. I tried to keep it as current as I could, but I didn't want the book to date itself.
Right.
And so I made the words in the book to appeal to just about any audience. I've had teenagers tell me they liked the book, and that was a great compliment, I felt. And I've had senior citizens tell me they like the book. So it appeals to a broad range of people.
It really does. It really does. Was there a particular incident or event or anything that really inspired this book for you, or was this something like so many of us who carry books in our minds and in our hearts for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and we just have not yet written it?
Well, one time, perhaps 20 years ago, I made a list of things I wanted to do, and one of them was to write a book. But that was like 20 years ago, so I knew I wanted to do it. I had an advantage because I was writing every day. I was writing at ad agencies and writing brochures and copy and radio commercials and that kind of thing. So it got me into the writing mode. What really started me on this book was that, I think this was now 30 years ago, a friend's parents had died in an automobile accident. It was just a big tragedy. And I wanted to send some flowers. And I didn't know what to say on the card. Mm-hmm. So if you think about it, at those moments when you're sending flowers, that's the time when they ask you, what would you like the card to say? Mm-hmm. And you don't know what to say. Mm-hmm. And you only have a few words. So that's really where the idea started.
Plus, they charge you per word, too, don't they? So if it's somebody you didn't really know that well, you're like, well, I'm going to save $10 or something.
The fewer words might be better sometimes.
Well, what's hard also is that if you're saying it over the phone, you might be a little embarrassed about what to say. Mm-hmm. And you're just really on the spot. So even though I was a writer at that time, I was just stuck. And I thought, I would really like some nice words to comfort my friend. And I didn't know what to say. So that's when the idea for the book began.
Right. And, you know, have you made a catalog during your life? Did you just jot down phrases that you always like? And we'll get more into these after we have our break, but you have some wonderful phraseology here, Steve.
Well, thank you, Clarice. This is what I do. A friend asked me this the other day. I have 3x5 cards at my desks, in the kitchen, in my briefcase, everywhere, in the car. And when I hear something that I like, I write it down. I jot it down. Now, it might not be a message or a wish per se, but I make that into something that you might say for a birthday or a congratulation. So for some reason, my ear hears original language. When I hear something on TV and it's fresh, I write it down because I think, well, I haven't heard that before. That's kind of neat. I'll make that into a message and put it in the book. So that's what I do. I jot things down as soon as I hear them. Sometimes I save them in my mind and I'll write them down the next morning. And I literally have thousands and thousands and thousands of slips of paper over now at least 15 years.
That's incredible.
From doing this.
Right. And then you catalog that, like you said.
I do.
And you can pull it out a little bit later. Well, we're going to take a break, Steve. And when we come back from our break, I want to talk a little bit more about word gifts and do we always have to be clever when we say things? Mm-hmm. And about the passion of the words that we exchange with each other. I think that's also important, and all of that is in your book. It's wonderful. We'll take a break. You're listening to the Clarice Drew Show, 95.3 FM, 1680 AM WPRR. This is Public Reality Radio. Come on and put your hands together.
Good morning, Grand Rapids. Welcome back to the Clarice Drew Show, 95.3 FM, SNAM, Public Reality Radio. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, call 616-656-1680. Go to the webpage, publicrealityradio.org. Just on Facebook, The Clarice Drew Show. We're also on Twitter, @Clarice Drew. And Clarice, I have some bad news. I just checked over on eBay, and we didn't get the Justin Bieber hair. A little girl in Sparta bought it. I'm sorry.
She bought the Justin Bieber? For real?
$40,000, yeah.
Oh, gosh.
What's it sold for? Yeah.
Okay, let's get her on the show next week. Get on it, Dan.
Well, I'm sure.
You and Catherine right away. I want to have her in next week. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Thanks, Dan. Once again, joining us in the studio live is Mr. Steve Fadie. And Steve wrote the book, Words to the Rescue. It's the sentiment guide for the tongue-tied. And as we were going to break, I was sharing with Steve, there's so many areas of this book that I want to, let me just find a couple ones just so people get a little feel of what the book is like. I love these. For an example, anniversary and you have it categorized too, Steve. You've got anniversary, you have sympathy, congratulations. Let's see what other. And these are all ways to help guide people in what to say. And you're quick to say, too, that if people want to just use those words as is, it's not plagiarism. They have your permission. Is that right?
That's right.
So they can take some of the phrases, but you have birthdays, congratulations. And I thought this was nice in anniversary. Well, there's so many, but you say you can't do any better in life than to spend it with your best friend. And then you have another one where you say, our life is like a roller coaster. It's got ups and downs, screaming, and a whole lot of fun. I just thought that was so precious. How did you come up? Did you dig real deep inside for a lot of these?
That's a good question. They come in all different kinds of ways. Some are inspired by a phrase I might hear on TV or the radio or see in a magazine. I might even see it on a billboard or in an advertisement. Other ones, I just sit down and start writing. And, that's when a lot of the stuff comes. You just write.
Exactly.
A person asked me the other day, they want to do some writing. I said, just do it. Just sit and write. It's just like swinging a baseball bat.
And after you get that first word or phrase out, you probably are more unleashed and can just do it, can't you?
Well, the more you do it, the better you get at it, like swinging a baseball bat. Okay, so you have to practice, and you just have to do it. If anyone listening is interested in writing, just start writing. You can write a personal journal. You can write, it really doesn't matter, anything. Just start writing.
Exactly. Steve, how and what do words rescue? How do they rescue and what do they rescue?
Okay, well, we all get stuck. That's why there is a picture of a broken pencil on the front. It's because we get frustrated. We don't know what to say, and the words don't come from our brain through our hand into the pen onto the paper. That's what needs to happen, and somehow we just get stuck. You can call it writer's block. You can call it anything. I like to call it getting stuck and being frustrated, and we all have that dilemma. When it really comes to light is when we are ordering flowers, like I mentioned earlier, or say you have a greeting card. You've already bought a greeting card. You want to send it to someone. Well, you want to write a note on it, right? So that's
like
what
you said, you get stuck.
Yeah. You want to write a personal note because a personal note is really the best part of the card.
Exactly.
Because you wrote it. So that is the problem. We all face it, and I knew I would have a very broad audience for this book because we all write notes, even today, email, and even people using Facebook have said to me, Steve, I'm using your book for Facebook.
Oh,
and I said,
that's
yeah,
fantastic.
tremendous. Good idea. I'm a person that gets tired of the same old words. So how many times can you wish someone a happy birthday? Happy birthday, Steve. Happy birthday, Jeff. Happy birthday, Clarice.
And what does it mean when it's kind of meaningless, isn't it?
Right. It's like have a nice
flat.
day.
Right.
Which is okay, and it's a nice wish, but let's try to put in something different. And I tell people there's many, many things you can say on a birthday. You can give someone a joke. You can give wisdom. You can give them a quote. You can tell them how much they mean to you. You can give them an insult if you want, if you're good buddies with them.
Well, Steve, it's interesting that you'd say what you did about words going flat and just using happy birthday for an example, because I always share with my children. I'll ask them about a situation or about a person that they may have met, and I'll say, well, how was he or how was she? And then they'll say, oh, they were nice. And my comeback is, nice is not good enough. A bowl of rice is nice. A sunny day is nice. Cool weather is nice. There are a lot of things that are nice. I need to know more than that person was just nice. And I think that's a lot of what you're saying we can do and draw and pull
Yes.
from within in our writing.
Yes, that's what I feel. We all have the power